Hello BookTube, I'm Shawn the Book Maniac. Welcome back to my and Doris of All the Books channels. We are doing a series of conversations about these Faber stories, which are standalone volumes published this year to commemorate Faber's 90th anniversary. And this is a short story by Akhil Sharma, Cosmopolitan. And I have never read any Akhil Sharma and have wanted to, so this is a great way to have a little taste of his charms. Akhil Sharma was born in 1971 in Delhi and has lived in America since he was 8 years old. Growing up, he experienced quite a bit of racism and was marked and shaped in large part by a tragedy that befell his family when he was young. His teenage brother was severely injured in a swimming accident and was in a coma for 30 years. And that experience, and I don't know what the result was. I'm dying to find out what happened after 30 years. Did he die? That would be so sad. Or did he wake up? Like, wow. I don't know the answer. I don't want to know the answer. Not right this minute, because Akhil Sharma has written a semi-autobiographical novel about that experience called Family Life, and I've heard a bit about the novel. This short story was originally published 20 years ago. It was anthologized in the Best American Short Stories in 1998, and then in 2003 made into a film. And I have found the trailer, Cosmopolitan, I have found the trailer on YouTube. I'll put a link in the show notes, and I'm quite curious to find the film. It doesn't sound like it's easy to find in 2019. I guess the only other novel that he's written is his debut, An Obedient Father, in 2000. I remember hearing, I think it was Eric, that raved about his collection of short stories, A Life of Adventure and Delight, which came out in the summer of 2017, and I believe this one may, even though it was published much earlier, yes, first time it was published in book form or in a collection of his own fiction was in that 2017 book. And I love Indian fiction. I have to say that I'm not underwhelmed by this, but I can't so far see what the fuss is about. I will say that the writing is really good. I love the tone of it. I'm being carried along. I find the story itself quite cliched. Two lonely people living next door to each other, both divorced or, their spouses having left them. And so far it seems like some kind of an awkward dating ritual and being very clumsy about trying to make moves on one another and how to start the ball rolling. It's okay, but it's just like, I need something shocking or some kind of a twist or some kind of a deepening of the story. Otherwise, I think I will be disappointed by it, but it's won all kinds of awards, been made into a film, so I'm expecting something like that is going to happen. I have read the first 14 pages, and I just thought the writing, the description of poor Gopal, whose wife and daughter have both left him. His daughter got married and went to Germany with her husband, and then his wife went back to India and stayed there. She was going back for a visit, and then she stayed, and so he's a retired, I don't know exactly how old he was, but he took early retirement, so he could be in his 50s, and is living in the house alone, and just his loneliness is described so evocatively that it was almost difficult to read, but also with a touch of humor. He had showered and sleeping in the living room and all of that dusty kitchen table, and the next door neighbor comes to borrow his lawnmower, and he makes a really ham-handed pass at her, and she says, "Not now," which just fills him with hope, and that's what's happened in the story so far. So she borrows his lawnmower, and now he's feeling like maybe a new chapter of his life will begin. It could end up being really sweet. Maybe I don't need a twist, but it also just feels like the kind of story that I've read 1,000 times before. So I'm hoping something will happen in the remainder of the story to make it unique and make it something that sparks some kind of readerly joy, but not yet. In the main, I'm feeling positive, but just thinking, okay, this needs to go somewhere to impress me. I hope it does. Doris, how about you?
Hey, Shawn. Well, yeah, I don't know that I have much to say either. I felt instant sympathy for both of the characters, and that was quite an awkward little moment in the tool shed. But other than that, yeah, it's ironically reading like a little romance that you would find in a magazine. And I say ironically because that alludes to the title, Cosmopolitan. I read on the blurb, armed with Cosmopolitan magazine as his Bible, he embarks on a quest for suburban romance. So hopefully our little Gopal is at least going to be successful on his quest. I will say, I mean, because I'm all about a sweet romance now and again, so far so good. But I will say, though, one of our viewers, someone commented on a recent Faber Stories video of ours that she had picked up this one in the airport. I think it was Hardcover Hearts was the commenter. Interesting channel name. But she said she picked it up at the airport and has already read it and really wants us to read this so that we can talk about the ending, because she wants to know what we think about the ending. So I think you might get your wish. Maybe, surely there's a twist. But that kind of makes me nervous because I'm a sucker for a sweet ending, so I've got my fingers crossed for sweet on this one, Shawn, but we'll see.
Hey, Doris. Well, I really liked this. This was a 4-star read for me. There were so many interesting juxtapositions of comedy and emotional vulnerability and interesting things that Akhil Sharma put together in the story that just made me sit up straight or laugh and care about these two lost and lonely people. It didn't rise to the level of a story that I loved, but I really liked it, and I want to read more by Akhil Sharma. I love the ambiguity of the ending, which you could put a positive or a negative spin on, and that is the kind of story that I like. Nothing is tied up with a bow. I will be thinking about this story in the coming days, pondering that open-ended non-ending and thinking about how she felt when she opened the door and what he had on his mind and on his agenda when he went to her door. The station wagon was an interesting symbol. The Cosmopolitan magazine, of course, as you said, and the cultural differences and how possible or impossible is it to transcend the culture one knows and grows up with. I'm living that one, baby. So yeah, really interesting story. I am dying to hear what you thought.
Hey, Shawn. Me too. I ditto everything you said. 4 stars. I really enjoyed this one. It wasn't like wow, but it was good. I also appreciated that it was a story later in life, the second time around, if you will, and that they came from 2 different worlds, and he showed some of the struggles inherent in that. I really appreciated that you mentioned that old station wagon, because I hadn't really thought about it the first time I read it. So I went back and read that little bit again, and it really made sense to me. And I loved the ambiguity of the ending, because you just don't know. You just don't know in life whether, you know, those relationships, are they going to be the one, the second one, or just become a really good person that you depend upon and you know, as you travel through your path in life. Anyway, very enjoyable read, funny and poignant, and yes, a good one. Thanks so much for watching, everyone, and we will be back soon with the next installment. Bye.